Welcome to 5 Minutes in the Word, a daily devotional in the Word of God. You know, Mr. Gary, when you look into the Old Testament, especially in the time of the kings, you had some really good kings and you had some really bad kings.
Yeah.
The Judah, they had some good kings. Unlike Israel had all bad kings, basically. But you have Judah; they had some good kings. To take for instance Hezekiah. Hezekiah would represent, one of those, pretty good kings. But then you have guys like Manasseh or Ammon or any of these others that would reign in Judah, and they were not so good kings. Now, when you get past Ammon, you're going to run into a king, and actually he's a very young king, in the name of Josiah. Now, Josiah has a reputation of being a good king. Tell us, what made Josiah such a good king?
We can't tell all of it in one short study, but I think what sets him apart is that when he becomes king in the 18th year of his reign, which means he's only about 26 years old, he sends to restore the temple.
Right.
The temple's it's just come into disrepair. It's a shambles, really. And so they begin to work on that. And when they do, in verse 8 of 2 Kings chapter 22, we find, so Shaphan the scribe, then Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the scribe, I found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. A remarkable thing, you found the book of the Lord in the temple.
Yeah, last place I would have thought to look for it,
but Shaphan the scribe, verse 9, went to the king, bring the king word, saying, your servants have gathered the money that was found in the house and have delivered it into the hand of those who do the work and oversee the house of the Lord. Then Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And the good news is, this is a king, young as he is, who recognizes God has thoughts about his people.
Right.
And unfortunately, what he's hearing says God's thoughts aren't good because two kings in a row have done evil.
Right.
And God is going to deal with them if something's not done. And Josiah immediately tears his clothing in mourning because of what he's heard, and then he gives certain instructions. Beginning verse 12, he commands Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam the son of Shaphan, Achbor the son of Micaiah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, a servant of the king, saying, go inquire of the Lord for me, for the people and for all Judah concerning the words of this book that has been found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is aroused against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book to do according to all that is written concerning us. Well, they go and they do discover the word of the Lord. Right. And for the people, it's not very good, really. God's going to deal with them. But for the king who sent them, God's got a different view, because this king is interested in the word of God, and he doesn't want to violate the will of God. And so God makes a promise. I'm not going to do anything bad, basically, in your lifetime. And to me, the story, of course, goes on. Josiah restores true worship. He makes an effort.
He does.
To change the people. And if you know anything about when the people came out of Egypt, when Moses appealed for them, and when they repented, God would not do what he said he was going to do. And maybe Josiah is thinking along that order. He's hoping he can get the people to change. It's unfortunate that though he restores true worship, they don't change. No. But Josiah is in a good spot in the eyes of the Lord. To me, the message for us is very clear. We live in a country right now that's kind of mixed up. There's some really bad people.
Right.
And there's some people that are really trying to do what's right. The good news is God knows the difference. He can see us for who we are. And so the challenge for all of us Christians is to read the Word of the Lord, find out what He wants us to do individually, and then do that. And of course, we can do the same thing Josiah did. We can try to get others to change, and hopefully God takes a different view of us as a whole because of that effort.
Yeah, I think when you look at the life of Josiah, he puts in so much hard work and, removing those idols, restoring worship, all those things. And that's something that for us, that we look into the Word of God, we should see that God has a plan and God has instructions. And so we are to look to those instructions, we're to look to His Word, and we're to follow it all the days of our life. And one day He's going to come and take us home, those that are faithful. And so I want to be part of that number. I know you do as well. And so let's all stay true to the Word of God.